Prototype 2 is about the story of James Heller, and James Heller is a man who is very clear in his motivations, his intentions. So in Prototype 1, you had Alex Mercer. Alex Mercer was really a character that was ambiguous. You didn't really know if he was good or bad, and we really wanted to just kind of end that debate. So in Prototype 2, Alex Mercer is, 14 months have passed, he's kind of gone over the edge, he's evil, and we really wanted a character in contrast to Mercer, a character that players could really get behind, understand his emotional, his motivations for his actions, and really understand what he's about. So with Sergeant James Heller, you've got a character who really embraces his powers. He's a man who regrets his decisions. He basically told his wife and his daughter to stay in the city, trust Blackwatch. He basically comes back from the war. He's found his city destroyed at the hands of the virus, the hands of Alex Mercer, finds his family has been murdered. He's now a man who has nothing to live for but the revenge of his family and the loss of his city. So not only is he a character with very clear motivations and clear alignment, we were also bringing in some abilities to the game that allow the player, from a pure player standpoint, in Prototype 1, if Alex Mercer picked something up, he pretty much had to kill it. In Prototype 2, we really wanted to bring Jack choice to that. So in Prototype 2, James Heller, if for say, you only want to go after the Blackwatch or the military, if you accidentally pick up a pedestrian because you're moving through the world so fast, you'll actually be able to put that pedestrian down and let that person live. So while the character has his own choices, we really want to let the player have choices as well. So Prototype 2 doesn't necessarily have the morality system like for say the other guys. Ours is really about making, the choices are how Heller chooses his path through the world. They don't necessarily affect the overarching dynamics of the world. So it doesn't necessarily provide you, I think, what you're looking for. So. So in Prototype 1, the story was a conspiracy, right? And at the end of the day, how do you describe a conspiracy? How do you describe a TV show like Lost in one sentence? So we really fixed that by making the main storyline very clear, very concise. It is about Sergeant Heller going after James Mercer and getting revenge. But we didn't want to lose that interesting conspiracy, that kind of subplot that happens in a world like Prototype. So we've kept that. We've kept the conspiracy, we've kept the backstory, we've kept side stories, utilizing the web of intrigue like we had in Prototype 1, but through a system called Blacknet, which is essentially a series of it's hard points in the world where the player can access operations and then hunt a target and then get more backstory. So. No, I mean, one of the things, in Prototype 1, we allowed the city to take on 3 personas, and at the end of the day, that meant that we didn't get to give the same detail and attention to the visuals that we really wanted. So we did this for Prototype 2. We really wanted to make sure that each zone had its own look, its own feel, its own ambience, and it's that way from the start to the finish. But as the player progresses through the story, the zones themselves, the whole holistic zone will feel very different, very unique, and very rich. The choice to be so not all missions will allow you to be stealthy. What we had shown today was the ability to not kick the hornet's nest and solve the puzzle of completing the mission. In not all situations is that achievable. Sometimes you'll actually have to go in with guns blazing. But we really wanted as many times as possible to allow for choice in the player's hands. Again, we talked about this before, but really allowing the player to choose how they want to approach a problem, how much level of violence they want to bring to the puzzle, but not all cases. So how we solved it was really where it works, we allow the player to choose. Where it doesn't work, sometimes we just have to default to So I mean, there's a lot of things we've been focused on, but you know, the three top line things were story that people could understand, a character they could rally behind, and then just a world that really felt alive. The first prototype was a world that you know, both visually and with kind of what was going on in the world, it didn't necessarily totally hit the mark we were trying to achieve. So we wanted to make a visually interesting world, a visually entertaining world, or not entertaining, but an active world, and a visually rich world in terms of the three zones having their own look and feel. So making the world a character in the game as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.